It's the Jack and Nick Horror Show.
Nick,
Jack,
Halloween.
coming soon. Wait, no, it's here.
It's here. We're talking about Halloween.
Yes, we
2018 Halloween. Within the next year, I think every horror movie that we reference or talk about, we have to have a date at the end of it. Because we got Night of the Comet remake coming out, so it'll be Night of the Comet 2019.
Right.
And then, like, Night of the Comet. What was the first one? 83? 82? Somewhere around there.
Probably a Frankenstein. Which will be Frankenstein 2019 instead of Don't they make a Frankenstein like every year?
And Return of the Living Dead 2020.
Right.
But then Return of the Living Dead 1985.
And then there's a Friday the 13th movie that might finally be happening because of LeBron James of all things. I don't know if you read that article this week.
I read it. It's whenever somebody says, "I want to do this," everybody goes, "It's happening! It's happening!" That's how we get our news these days. But yes.
I bet the sequel will be called Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, 2020.
Right.
But it won't say 2020. It'll say have the all right. So tonight we're reviewing Movie of the Week. Movie
of the Week is Halloween 2018.
2018.
The third movie to be called Halloween.
Hollow 28 Tween. That was for the people that hate my sense of humor.
So who's gonna talk first about this?
I'm just gonna say this is what the deal is with the movie. If you are living under a rock. Laurie Strode comes to her final confrontation with Michael Myers, the masked figure who has haunted her since since she narrowly escaped his killing spree on Halloween night 4 decades ago. Now, I want to know what your feelings are, and then we'll go into
just to add a little bit to the plot. We have to explain, just in case you are you just came out of a coma today, and you don't know this, but this movie is a sequel to the original Halloween, and all the other Halloweens have been completely erased. The Rob Zombie ones, the Busta Rhymes one, Halloween 2, and Halloween 2. There is nothing but the original Halloween and this movie. You never saw any of the others.
Can I do a quick breakdown?
Sure.
For those that are utterly confused, even though most of the people listening to this are not utterly confused, but we may have...
the babies who were just born yesterday on October 24th, we're recording on the 25th. So the 24-hour-year-olds...
These are the same ones I'm seeing. This goes out to the same people I see on different Facebook groups going, I'm going to watch this movie called Night of the Demons. Is it any good? And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Okay, so...
Dude, I see it on Twitter every day, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't even answer because I'm so old. Not just Night of the Demons, but like every... wow, you're just watching that for the first time, and I must be 300 years old.
My face is going to be like one-dimensional from slamming it into a desk. People on fucking social media. But here you go. Yeah, you have Halloween. This is the original thing here. So you have Halloween... which leads into Halloween 2. So Halloween 1 and 2 are essentially one movie for the time. But then you go to Halloween H2O, which retcons Halloween 3, 4, 5, and 6, and skips all them. So you have Halloween 2 with Jamie Lee Curtis 20 years after the first movie and second movie. And she has a son, Josh Hartnett. Okay? And then after that movie, there's another one, which is The Curse of Michael Myers, and then they just like kill off Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode character and go into Busta Rhymes' Jubilee. So you have that. Then you have Halloween 3, which is his own movie. Everybody knows about that. And then you have Halloween 4, 5, and 6, which is about Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, had a daughter who is Michael Myers' niece, and therefore he must break out of the hospital and stalk the niece and her adoptive sister, so stepsister, and then that goes through 4, 5, and then 6. You find out that he, in fact, had sex with his niece that he was stalking and impregnated her, and then that baby had to be taken away and sacrificed for a cult which raised Michael Myers, and Michael Myers kills Jamie, who is the niece, And then that all went to hell because nobody knew what the fuck they were doing. They didn't know what that Man in Black from Part 5 was, so that's what they created. And it turns out to be the goofy guy, the old guy, who's a good actor, who was in I think it was Pale Rider or something, but he was also in Grosse Point Blank. Then you had Rob Zombie came in and made Halloween 27, but it's Rob Zombie's Halloween, and then Halloween 2, which is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and then they got blown apart by people that hate Rob Zombie and hate anything he does because they hate white trash, but they are white trash. And then now we have Halloween 2018, which is a direct sequel, as Nick has said, to the first Halloween. So Halloween 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Rob Zombie 2 do not exist.
Right.
Go.
So
I'm going to take a nap.
Given that all these sequels are like 84% trash, this Halloween stands up pretty well compared to those. Man, all right, so going back to when they were first talking about this movie coming out and showing the trailer, and I told everybody, temper your expectations because you never know where this is going to go. It could be, Texas Chainsaw 3D or something. It's definitely not like that. I basically went into this movie. I had watched the night before Strangers Prey at Night, and I hoped that this movie would be better than Strangers Prey at Night. And I think it was about as good, maybe a little bit better. Maybe I like the other one more. I don't know. They're both. I don't know if they can be directly compared to one another. What this Halloween has is like really good highs, but then some really stupid lows. And then there's like a million Easter eggs and references to the other Halloween movies, which me and Jack will talk about. I bet we'll have a field day doing that, so stick around for that. But, oh man, I didn't love this movie. I didn't love Halloween. I will say that. I am a Rob Zombie apologist, and I feel a certain amount of bitterness because people have talked shit on Rob Zombie's movies for so long, when at least like Rob Zombie's movies added creative stuff to the series, and this one adds some creative stuff, but mostly it is at times literally a shot-for-shot remake of the original, except other times it's adding in brilliant like kill sequences. Like there's a one-shot take where Michael goes like from house to house just murdering people. It's wonderful, and that's not a spoiler at all. That's something to look forward to. But there are like other scenes that are seriously the first movie again, and I kind of don't mind that. I mean, I would have called this movie, if you were going to give it a subtitle, I would have called this Halloween: The Force Awakens, because this movie is to the original Halloween what The Force Awakens is to A New Hope. It is a legacy sequel that is there to bring back old characters, pay homage to the first movie and its legacy, and just it's like a pillar there to put up on a pedestal the original, and let you enjoy it all over again in a new way. But I don't know. I feel like it's also a really, at times, dumb slasher movie, which is fine. I like dumb slashers. I just didn't totally love this movie. Like I didn't feel disappointed, but I feel whelmed rather than overwhelmed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And maybe your mileage will vary. I know I probably am giving this the most negative review of it you've ever heard, because everybody else
there's
like
a lot of backlash. There's a lot of backlash coming recently.
Is there? Well, I you know what? I have actually seen more of it in the past couple of days, but I just don't think that this movie reinvents. Oh my God, I coughed. Oh. I tried so hard not to cough. Oh my God. Nah, I'm okay. Look, I've got an inhaler over here. Should I have that too?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay, here we go. No, I'm not going to do it. Anyway, so like
you can be like Darth Vader if you were in The Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens, Nick, The Force Awakens, just go back to sleep. So anyway, Halloween 2018, as I was saying, good, not great, does not reinvent the wheel, and it is not the rollicking. Maybe it is for some people, but for me, it was totally not the rollicking roller coaster that the early reviews tried to paint this as. That was huge hyperbole. I think that this movie will be remembered fondly among the Halloween movies because, like I said, it outshines a lot of those, underdone sequels, but it's not my favorite.
It's not
Jack?
my favorite. Yes.
Not my favorite.
So, what do you think? I think of this movie. Nick?
I think you like it more than I did, for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't think you. I don't know. I can't tell if you love this movie.
No,
or
I
not.
didn't. I didn't love it, and I'm going to tell you why.
Did you like it more than Strangers Pray at Night?
That's a toss-up. Probably
That's
not.
you. It's a toss-up, right?
Yeah, like Strangers Pray at Night. The thing I like about it, I got lit up by Casey Chamberlain on Facebook, where he's like, "Oh, this and that, and this and that," and I'm like, "You're dissecting Strangers Pray at Night. It's about 3 imbeciles who miraculously kill a whole entire trailer park and
It
are going
literally
off
is.
to the last family. That's it. That's
Can we
fucking...
turn this review into a review of Strangers Pray at Night instead?
No, we can't. But it's just, it knows what it is. It has some beautiful set pieces, wonderful music, which shouldn't work in it, but it does perfectly. And
Right.
that's all there is to it. It's junk food for the brain. It's mind numbing. I can't do the Robert Downey Jr. from Network. Anyway, Halloween 2018. The reason I didn't like when I left the theater, I really liked it, and I had a great time with it. Like that's exactly what it is. It's just a fucking dumb popcorn Halloween movie. Okay, so I'm just gonna go right into it. I liked it. I did. I'm just trying to point out why I'm not sitting here like mouthing the microphone right now. Okay, here's number one gripe, and I'm just going to get right through it. It's not too many, though. I still really... Don't get me wrong. I don't know who I'm trying to prove this to, but don't get me wrong. I like the movie. Here's the problem. When this movie begins, you have the 2 podcasters that go into the psych ward, which you've seen in the trailer.
Right, it's the first bit of the trailer. No spoiler there.
And the one British podcaster dude takes out Michael Myers' mask to Michael Myers and yells at him to look at it, right? Mm-hmm. Screaming, right? And when he screams, it goes crash into Halloween theme music so that the audience watching the movie in the theater will go, yeah! Right? No, that's not what they did. Everybody was silent in my movie theater. You know why? Because they're not fucking stupid. Here's how you actually do it, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm the one that's talking here. Is you take that fucking scene and you move it after the credits. You take the credits, just like the first Halloween, since the movie is pretty much an homage to that and its sequels. You put the title sequence first, which I think was an awesome title sequence, by the way.
Oh man, yeah, it shows a Pumpkin going from dead state backwards to alive. It's beautiful. It's a great opening titles credit sequence. I'll give it the points for that.
Tell me how much the crowd would be excited just from boom, the music cue. And not Mr. fucking podcaster British wanker who's there with a fucking mask yelling into the camera.
Right.
It's stupid.
That's a Blumhouse thing. You have to have a pre-credits sequence in every Blumhouse movie, no matter what.
Yeah,
you can never just start a movie and have it be in it. No, you have to have the hook first, or you'll lose your audience. Dude, it's Halloween. You don't need the pre-credits hook.
Right. The hook is the fucking title sequence. So you have the title sequence, but think from an editing standpoint, real quick. Think from an editing standpoint. You have that scene. He's yelling. Smash cut to Laurie. That's it. Just fucking move. Move the fucking plot along. Don't give us this stuff and then show us the title and then go into the movie and then you just lost us. It's like you blew your wad
And dude,
And then it's like, oh, now I got to go through all this shit.
well, yeah, I mean, one of my problems with this movie is that it showcases mental illness really well at times, especially with like, Laurie Strode living with PTSD. I love when a horror movie shows the effects on a character from previous movie. Like, it pisses me off to no end when a sequel just starts and everybody's like, "Hey, everything's fine, man. There were no ghosts in the last movie.
Well,
just chill."
like
I'll give you a good example is like in the beginning of Insidious 2. When they're just like, I guess we just can't try you for murder, even though the only reason we would have to think you killed Lynn Shay is because your hands were around her neck. Oh, spoiler for Insidious 1. Sorry, you had like 10 years. But Insidious 2 starts and they're just like, nah, we gotta let him go. We got nothing but his fingerprints on her dead neck. Like, no. There's photos of him killing her or something. I don't know, something stupid like that. And I got so mad at that movie because of it. Whereas you look at like one thing I really liked about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 was the way that Laurie was completely fucked in that movie, right? But of course they do it in this movie and everybody treats it like it's fucking gold, right? Even though it already happened in Rob Zombie's. Fuck everybody. I hate them. God damn it. I like the Rob Zombie movies. I don't care. I love H2. I know it's fucking crazy and insane and surreal, but it's got beautiful things. There's another thing in there that I like too, but please continue. Oh, wait.
Do you remember? Yes.
The thing I was saying is mental illness in the first scene. What the fuck? Like, it's the year 2018. Do we really put mentally ill people on screen like that? I don't think they were actually mentally ill people, but like they make them into like Arkham Asylum goofballs, like with a dude who's got like he literally looks like the Penguin and is carrying an umbrella, and like they're like screeching and scorching around because like the dude's holding up the mask, and it's like, dude, are you kidding? Like you're treating them like monkeys at a zoo.
You know what movie did Mental Asylum very well?
What?
Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3.
You know what? You're actually right, because those people, they're like real people, but with like disabilities. That's how people have disabilities. They come across as real people, and then they have a fucking problem.
Ooh,
not like I'm sitting in a wheelchair going like, I mean, like it was like stuff that you could not repeat on this podcast because people would think I was making fun of the mentally ill in derogatory ways, and I wouldn't be. I would just be repeating what actually happens in this movie. But whatever. I mean, I don't hang up on that sort of stuff too much, but I just think it's kind of like I have seen this in horror movies so much, I'm over it. So
I've said this before, and you remember the wonderful short that I will be watching again this Halloween, Too Many Cooks?
Yeah.
Okay. Too Many Characters. Let's go through the cast list.
Dude, I feel like we're just like tearing this movie apart.
I know, but I'm getting, like I said, I want to get all the shit.
We're going to talk about the great shit too.
The great shit, yeah, it's coming. I just want to get all the shit out of the way. So now, and then I'll be like, okay, so I really like this movie. All right. It's like, that girl that you dated, or guy, whatever. And like, you're like, she's a bitch. She smells like soup. She had this booger hanging all day, and
what?
But then they're like, she was cool. We got to know each other, and we watched a movie, and it was a good night. I'm gonna see her again next week. It's like that, but I've never went out with. Okay, so we have Laurie Strode. You have her daughter. You have the granddaughter. You have the granddaughter's boyfriend. You have his friend. You have her friend, who's also babysitting. You have Will Patton, who's a sheriff. You also have the doctor for Michael Myers. You also have this young kid and his dad who are driving and run into the mental patients who escaped. You, these are all, main characters. Oh, yeah, I forgot. You also have the wife's husband, who also has a lot of speaking parts in the film as well. Mm-hmm. You also have the two cops who also become characters miraculously. You have the kid that the granddaughter is also babysitting, who I'll get to that because that's actually a shining moment. But there are so many things or characters going on. Like, there's so much happening at once, and while you get to know some of them, a lot of them you don't. They're in 2 or 3 scenes, just like Rob Zombie's Halloween, which one thing I did have a problem with, where it's like, hey, here's these characters. Hey, there they are again. Hey, we're going to kill them. And you can't go, oh, okay, cool. But anyway, too many characters in this movie, and some of them are dispatched in ridiculous ways. But
Well, yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not
one of
gonna.
my
I don't want to
biggest
spoil it, but yeah,
no, one of my biggest. I actually came in there because I was like, "Don't say it."
yeah,
But one of my biggest problems with this movie, and I'm sure it's one of your biggest problems in this movie, is they add a lot of teenagers who have no redeemable qualities,
uh-huh.
and you hate all of them because you're supposed to be cheering for Michael Myers. And we talk about this in slasher movies all the time.
Right.
You don't have to hate the whole cast to watch a horror movie.
Right.
And like it happens how many times that like they introduce these characters that you don't want to know, that you don't want to spend time with. And in fact, in this movie, you could have cut out the whole subplot with the teenagers
Mm-hmm.
and still had only an hour and a half movie. This movie ran almost 2 hours, I think.
Yeah.
And it was getting a little long towards the end. I was like, come on, boys, let's wrap this up.
I really liked the granddaughter, though. I thought she was a good character.
But she's supposed to.
I know, but she wasn't an annoying twit like Scott Taylor Compton is. I'm sorry, I just don't like her in those movies.
I don't care.
I know, but it's a thing. I still like those movies, but it's just like, ugh, she's acting again. Damn it! Can we just move on? Anyway, so Will Patton, I really like Will Patton, and I really
that?
like he's the cop, the older cop.
Oh, yeah. I actually felt like he was a good addition to the cast.
Yeah, and yeah, it's man. But anyway, okay, so those are the negatives. I don't have too many. And yeah, I understand where Nick's going too, where he's like saying there's this homage and that homage, and it does become distracting for people like ourselves.
Yeah, let's
that
save
love
that
horror
for
movies.
exactly.
Yeah.
For me and you, I was like distracted, like every scene, exasperated.
Right.
Oh my god!
But for
I can't believe they're doing that. Also, do you need my inhaler for?
No, but the general audience, right?
Right. We're going to discuss
They're
all
not
the
gonna-
Easter eggs.
they're
I
not
want to
gonna
name
be
all
like-
the Easter eggs we can after we're done talking about the movie. We're going
Right,
to
no
talk
problem.
Easter eggs and then the reviews of the people out there.
Now,
so
the
continue.
babysitter and the the blonde girl, I can't remember her character's name, but I liked her a lot, as well as the kid as she's babysitting, and the two of them with their dialogue and busting each other's balls about like, I'm going to talk about your web browsing history and all that kind of stuff. I
Right.
found
The kid she's babysitting is pretty good.
yeah, and it was a good tension breaker. Like, not that I was tense or anything. It did get tense, I'm going to admit. The last 20 minutes of this movie is fucking fantastic. It's probably one of the best last 20-minute moments in the whole franchise. It's fascinating. I was, like, on the edge of my seat, but not really. I don't get on the edge of my seat. I am right now because my dog's sitting behind me, but I liked how they handled it. I'm not going to say what it is, what happens, who lives, who dies, anything like that, but there is very tense the last 20 minutes of the movie. The characters, it seems like a lot of this was redone, and they kind of added scenes to get the kill count up high.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, the weird thing. Okay, so you have semi spoilers if you really care. So she has a boyfriend, and the boyfriend does something in almost every horror movie. He fill in the blank, people. What does he do? You got it. Yeah, he did that. And then she sees it, and then she gets mad, and then walks away, and then in steps the fat friend, or the chunky friend, let's say, who's like, I'll be there for you. Mm-hmm. Right? And you're like, oh, okay, so this whole thing is going to happen, and then these two idiots are going to get together. But it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go, and it feels kind of like they just started this, and now the next scene we're going right there, and it's like, okay,
right. There's a lot of that with, like, it does feel like they just crammed as much of a teen drama slasher that they could in,
right. And that was even to bring it back to Zombie. That was Zombie's issue with the first movie. Like, he didn't want to do a remake of the first movie. He was kind of forced to do that and what he had to do was cram Halloween into the last 40 minutes of the movie. So that's kind of like what you got here, where it's like, let's get all this story into this hour and 48 minutes.
Okay, can I tell you the last really negative thing I have about the movie,
Sure,
and
go
then
ahead.
we can talk about all the
All
positives.
the positives, yes.
Okay, so there's a doctor in this movie,
Oh, God.
and he is the new Loomis. They even literally self-awarely say it in the movie that he's the new Loomis.
Right.
I'm not kidding. And he's a student of Dr. Loomis who happens to wear the same coat as Dr. Loomis and have the same like facial
Voice.
hair and voice, and he's got everything Donald Pleasance had except more hair on his head. And he's obsessed with Michael Myers and follows him around and shit. And I was not impressed, mainly because I think that they should have gone a completely different route with that and had maybe the British podcasters be the new, Ahab chasing the whale. And I think that they should have been a bigger part of the movie or something, like make it completely different. Like when Malcolm McDowell is Dr. Loomis, I fucking love him as
He
Dr.
was fantastic.
Loomis. He is so good as Dr. Loomis. And in this, you could have thrown in another Dr. Loomis and made him something completely
You
different.
could have had Loomis Jr., Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah. In fact, there's no reason the British kid
Too old.
couldn't have been a Loomis.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason. And they didn't do that.
You could have had Skeet Ulrich playing Billy Loomis from
Right.
Scream and retcon the Scream series while you're at it.
There's also an incredibly stupid part of this movie that would be a spoiler if I mention it, but I'm just going to see if Jack agrees. Is that part the stupidest part of this fucking movie?
Yes.
It is.
Everybody hates that part.
It is
I think it was
inexplicably the stupidest thing I have seen that was seriously out of part 6. It was that stupid.
The best part of it, though, I have to admit, is how it ends. It's out of trauma, dude. It's right out of trauma.
Yes,
and I
absolutely.
loved every little drop of it.
Anyway, so let's talk about the great positives of the movie. How about that score?
That score is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't purchased it yet, and I will. But yeah, John Carpenter and his kid really knocked it out of the ballpark for sure.
The song, if you go on YouTube and listen to it, because you haven't seen Halloween yet, go and listen to Halloween Triumphant, and it's freaking wonderful. Really, it is. Go and listen to the whole score. It's on YouTube, and I totally recommend it. And I love it when a horror movie has a good score. So there's your synth of the week.
No. Some of the things I did like. I did like I said, I did like the daughter. I liked that, like you said, Laurie Strode had a lot of issues and there was problems with the daughter, but I liked the dynamic between the daughter and her and the awkward dinner. Like, that felt like a real scene. Like, that really felt like a real family having, okay, here comes awkward, crazy grandmom.
Right. I mean, thematically, I felt like there was a lot of things going on between like the dysfunctional family dynamic. Also, thematically, I feel like there's a theme that runs through the movie about how, and this is really subtle and subtext wise, but I feel like there's this theme about how because the world has, and this is like really deep, but it's totally there if you look for it. The world has become so safe that we're all like placated by it. And like men and masculinity are just like gone. Like not every man in this movie, but like every man who's a new character is kind of like this wussy, demasculinized character, emasculated, however you want to say it.
Except for Will Patton and the cops.
Exactly, but it's because he was there in the beginning.
Right.
He was they mentioned that he was a cop from the 70s, right? Him and Michael Myers are the only like really dominant.
He was one of the ones that took him down. Yeah.
Right, and it's like all the high school boys that they had and stuff are like total wusses, and they make a point of this. And like the husband is a total wuss. He's like, I know jujitsu, and it's like a joke when he says it. But it's totally just. I felt like the thematic thing was, and like Laurie says so many times, like that the world is horrible and gonna eat you and take you up and come for you when you're not prepared, and you got to be prepared. And it's true. People live completely unprepared. Like, think about if there was like a nationwide blackout tomorrow and stayed that way for a year, how many people would die? You know what I mean?
But Nick,
just
there are
like
so many people preparing for the zombie apocalypse because there's a popular show
I
called The
think they
Walking
all
Dead.
gave that up. I think they all gave that up in
Have they?
2012.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when it stopped being cool. But you know, I think that like that theme and just like the storytelling about that, about like how Michael is scarier now in a way in 2018 because like back in the 70s, men were allowed to be men and like fend him off or like shoot him, and now it's like nobody owns guns and nobody can fight for themselves because especially our youths are pussy boys and stuff. And I was like, you know what? In any other movie, I might hate that theme, but here I think that it's like brilliant in a way, and you have to wait for the old lady to come and save you because she was the most prepared.
You want to know something really messed up in my brain?
Sure.
I want to see if it's messed up in your brain too. Do you feel bad for Michael Myers?
In what regard?
Well,
and like why?
Like he looks like with the mask, and the head tilt and this. It's like a little puppy dog, like that just doesn't know what he's doing, but he's just doing it. Like almost like he's a possessed little puppy dog wearing a mask.
Yeah, you definitely have issues that I don't.
No,
I guess.
but like when it's obviously he's a scary. It's like a scary mannequin in a sense, right?
Right.
But like that's
But
what's scary about him. But it's like one of those things where like when they're like, and I'll just use Halloween 2 as an example. Like when the eyes are being shot out and he's on fire and stuff. I'm like, that poor dude. I don't know what it is. Even in The Strangers, I was like, man, really? Yeah, poor guy.
Wow. So,
Hey,
man,
Jimmy was the kind of guy that rooted for the bad guys in the movie. No, but like it's not all. I'm not saying all the time, but there's those little moments where I'm like, maybe he's just misunderstood. Maybe that's what's going on.
so if we could talk about this movie and not the other psycho killers you bonded with for some reason or
I
live
haven't,
vicariously
really.
through.
No,
So now the humor in this movie, some of it's good and some of it's really flat.
Peanut butter.
Yeah, that'll come up in our references part because I think it's actually a reference, two references at once. But man, so overall, good dumb slasher, right?
Yes, it is. That's what I liked about it. That's all you can expect from this. You can't expect the second coming of Halloween. Like it's
Right.
not
exactly.
It's not possible in 2018.
We literally already had the second coming of Halloween, and you all hated it.
Right. You also had Halloween 2, and you were all like, "Oh, okay, well, whatever."
It is I'm very resentful. I'm very resentful of the horror fans that try to oversell this as like something that's not. I resent it because it's like there are tons of movies that people have ignored over the past couple of years that have been genuinely wonderful. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you're interested in which ones, guess what? I've been podcasting now for goddamn 7 years. Go listen to the stuff I've been touting that people just completely overlook.
They can't because somebody took over the funds of it and then said they can't afford it and they got rid of it all because that's the person you're dealing with. People
it's still out there somewhere. I know it on the internet. And we've got 3 years here on this podcast talking about horror.
We got other stuff. Yeah, listen.
There has been so many great movies that actually do reinvent the wheel again and again every year, and horror fans sit back and go, "Ugh, horror is dead," every year. And then they complain about every remake every year. And you know what? Then a remake of a movie comes along that they enjoy and they're like, "Oh my God, it's back." No. You claim you want new and different things, and you shit on all the new and different. And I'm not saying it's our listeners. I'm just saying the people out there. You know that you have your horror fan friends that are like this, that are the totally jaded. I don't care about anything anymore. The last good movie was made in 1987. You have to get it on video types that poo-poo everything that comes out these days, and you're like, but what about this? But what about that? But what about this? Because you're excited about it, because you're a person like me or Jack, I assume, who found something you love. And like then finally a remake comes out, and they're like, ooh, a remake. Like, you just want the same shit over and over again. You don't actually want new experiences. And I'm not saying it's everyone who liked this movie. I'm just saying there are people out there who are like that, and it annoys the shit out of me.
Right.
That like it takes the same old thing again. And this movie is so close to the original Halloween at times that it frustrates me. And like I'm telling you, we're going to go over the Easter eggs that we can name off the top of our heads, the non-spoiler Easter eggs. And we're going to name 1,000, because this movie is full of intertextuality, moments and items in the film that only exist for you to go, ooh, I remember that from the whatever, and
what you were just saying about like the whole overpraising this, and then you remember that there was a movie that came out before this not too long ago called Hellfest.
Hellfest? Oh, yeah, it was in theaters.
Huh?
It was in theaters.
Yeah, but I had no idea.
Dang.
Like, I saw the trailer about a month or so ago, and then I never heard shit about it again. I don't have cable. I don't watch TV, but
right.
I heard that nobody saw the trailer for it, and then they release it, and they're like, "Oh, horror's dead. Nobody wants to see slashers." See, I want to see Hellfest, and I heard that it's really good. It's a really good slasher, and it got overlooked. Yeah. And it's just a standard slasher, but it has a fucked up ending or something like that too, which is cool. That's what I want to see. And now I can't see it because it's when I was getting the tickets for Halloween, I'm like, oh my god, Hellfest is playing. Oh, great. Okay.
It played for like a day out here. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Like a weekend, and that was it.
Hopefully it finds an audience on Blu-ray and VOD. But, Nick, there's a thing where people romanticize with stuff once it's gone.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
it happens a lot with horror, where you have a certain genre that gets done to death and it's just beaten to a pulp and it just like sucks and then it fades away. And then years later, something else comes along and then people pick it back up and they're like, oh, wait a second. That's right. Remember this time when it reminds me of this time when my age was this time? Let's go back to that. And they try to replicate it, but you can't. It was during that time. So but the reason a lot of people are excited about this is that Blumhouse and, Danny McBride, David Gordon Green, Turek, all of them, like they got their balls together and just threw it out there and said, we're going to make a Halloween movie. Here you are. That's what they did. And they did I think, a very commendable job for what they had to do in order to appease the horror fans and appease the general public, because they're in the business to make money. They're not in the business to make, like, this group of assholes over here happy. Like, they're there to make money. So if you don't like it, you have original.
You could totally apply to Star Wars.
Yeah.
With J.J. Abrams came and made a Star Wars for Disney, and all they're in is to get money, and they're not really caring if they're appeasing everybody. So long as they're making money, it's good.
That's what every single movie is to get money. That's it.
Right.
No matter what. There was something I can't remember, but somebody
every
complained,
theatrical at least.
Yeah, somebody complained and said, "Oh, it's just a cash grab or something." Just recently, but I think Between Us or something, and I'm like, that explains every single movie ever made. Star Wars, the Solo thing. I think it was Solo. I think it was on your page or something, and somebody said it's just a cash grab from Star Wars. It's like, no kidding. That's they want your money. It's like, why do you think we have all these Friday the 13th movies?
There are definitely movies that are made for the sake of art. I would look even to our last review. Mandy is a movie that was made for the sake of it.
Of course,
and obviously, like shit Guillermo del Toro makes is for the sake of art. But a lot of things are made just
for money in order to make those things,
especially theatrically. I'm saying,
in order to make those things that are art, you need to make money to pay for those things that make
Yes.
it. That's the deal. That's how this shit works. And it sucks. It always does suck, but sometimes the commercial end of it turns out good. That's why Marvel is doing so well right now until they don't. And then people move on to something else. Halloween, though. Jamie Lee Curtis, I absolutely adore the woman. I'm glad that she was like, I'll do it again. And she took she only got paid $14,000 for the movie. She's getting the back end of it, which is a good gamble to take because this very well could have like shit the bed.
Yeah, but I don't think that there was any real chance. Like, they promoted it. Blumhouse packs the seats, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
They don't have that many movies that really botch or fail that bad.
No.
They succeed, and he succeeds in profiting. And I mean, like, I can't, like, there's a lot of people out there that don't like Blumhouse. Blumhouse has done incredible things for horror.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that that's an unpopular opinion, but it's a fucking fact. And also, there was this fucking article that came out right before this movie, like, Blumhouse doesn't have enough females in all his movies and working behind the scenes, and why aren't there female directors of Blumhouse movies? Meanwhile, the other, they put that out right before the weekend where he had a 55-year-old woman star in a movie that made $100 million. Can you please shut up?
To say that this guy, the guy even admitted, yeah, I made a big mistake and said some stupid things. He even says that. He said it on Twitter. Unlike most people that are like, well,
He actually
you see,
did put out a full apology that was like, I could do better.
he wasn't on Ambien or any other bullshit.
No, he didn't give any bullshit.
At least the guy said that. It's like no matter what you say, it gets put into this little canister for people to just go, get rid of him, put him on drugs. It's
cancel culture, as the kids call it.
Yeah.
And it's really quite ridiculous where every time a movie comes, and this drives me up the wall, is like every time a movie does well with a female lead, and it's either science fiction or horror, they have to act like it's the first time that this has ever happened.
Yeah.
Like when Wonder Woman came out, and they were like, wow, a fantasy lead with a woman. And it's like, yeah, okay, but like, this has happened before. Or like, this one where it's like a woman can lead in horror, and it's like, yeah, but so did like Linda Hamilton and
Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver, and like, this has happened
and
before.
Fucking Ginny and fucking Adrian fucking King.
You can't just pretend it's
Heather
the first time.
Langenkamp.
Like, every time that a woman does well, there was one dude. In fact, I was talking to on Twitter the director of what's the movie Death House. He was complaining because he was like, what about Dee Wallace in Cujo? She should have won an Oscar, right?
Yeah,
when he was talking back and forth.
In that.
And then Dee Wallace favorited the tweet, and I was like, see, man.
Yeah, it's true. She was great in that. She was great in The Howling. Like, dude, there are so many, and it's mostly horror that has female lead,
right,
kicking ass and taking names, and fucking Neve Campbell.
Right, just like say good things about everything that's happened so far and this. And it can all be a good thing together. It doesn't have to be the first time it happened.
Did they see finally, Strangers Pray at Night?
It just happened over the summer with Strangers Pray at Night.
Dude!
So let's come back to Halloween. I think let's give final opinion on it.
Okay.
Final opinion, and where do you put it amongst the other Halloweens?
All right, here's my problem. I still love 1. I still love 2. I still love 3. I still love 4. I still love 5. So right after 5.
I love Halloween. I like Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie one.
Uh-huh.
I like the other Halloween 2. Mm-hmm. I like the first Halloween. I like the other Rob Zombie Halloween. And then I like 4 slightly more than 5. So
I can understand that completely, yeah.
I would put this one in between 4 and 5.
I would say that, yeah. I'd probably move this in between 4 and 5, for sure. I still like 5 because of nostalgic reasons and shit. And they have some really awesome tense scenes in there. Her climbing up the thing with the knife and shit, and the car. Absolutely amazing.
I would put
in a
6,
movie.
7, and 8 all below this, by the way.
Oh, my fucking God, yeah. Yeah.
Far below this.
Like, H2O is good, but it's like... It's very just like, like,
Oh, and I forgot to put 3 on my chart, and I think you did too.
No, I did. I said I
okay.
like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the order. It's
I
top,
might
top
like this one more than 3, but I don't. I have trouble.
3's
comparing
its own
3 to
movie.
the
Yeah.
Halloween movies, because it's like number 1, that movie's not that great, but number 2, you got Tom Atkins, and I can't say bad things about him.
The more I watch Halloween 3, the more I love it every single time. It's weird.
Right. So
Anyway.
let's start naming. Let's go back and forth.
Okay.
Name something that you noticed as an Easter egg or reference to a previous Halloween movie in this movie. We're going to try not to spoil anything.
I'm going to give credit to Lauren. She picked out PJ Souls in the movie as the teacher when Laurie's granddaughter is looking out the window, just like the same exact shot in Halloween. When she looks out and sees Michael Myers instead, she sees Laurie in the same spot.
Yes. And
That's
PJ Souls was in it? What does that have to do?
She was the teacher. She was what's her name from Halloween?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. I didn't see that.
God damn it, my brain is
I'll
shot.
I'll name one for you.
Okay.
There is inexplicably, for no reason, a scene where there is a bunch of sheets hanging from a clothesline, and I kept staring at it in the background, just thinking Michael would be behind it.
But he was not.
Go.
The 3 masks from Halloween 3.
Saw it. The scene where Laurie's granddaughter walks up the street in between her 2 scuzzier friends, shot exactly as the scene in the original where Laurie walks up the sidewalk with her 2 scuzzier friends.
There's also the Halloween 2 in the beginning with the Harold or whatever, the old lady. But instead, this time he kills the old lady. Spoiler alert.
Oh, no. There's a scene where...
Time.
wait, there...
Time out.
What?
Time.
Okay, time out.
Dude, I didn't talk about one of my balls out moments of this movie. The scene, I'm not going to say what happens. You saw the movie. If you saw the movie, you know what I'm talking about. When the little kid and the dad are driving and they encounter the bus overturned.
Yeah.
And the dad gets out and then something happens. I'm like, not bad. Not
right,
bad.
but you know what? The movie goes there and then doesn't stay there.
Doesn't stay there. Correct. Yeah,
it kind of comes back there, but it doesn't. It's not something that I felt like at that point I was like, whoa, now this movie's setting up to be anything could happen, and then nothing really happened.
Correct. Well, something like that, something out of left field did happen, and we didn't like it. But go ahead.
That shot of the fucking bus looked exactly like when the ambulance crashed
in Halloween 4.
Yeah, exactly. And like when he gets out of the ambulance, you know what I mean. So that's my next reference. Your next reference?
My next one. Let's see. I just had it too. And you took it away because my brain went into. There's too many. There's a bunch of them.
I can keep going. I'm not done.
Oh, please go ahead.
I have several, maybe a few more. Okay, so there's a scene where. And you just brought it up briefly, but Laurie Strode's granddaughter is eating breakfast at the table, and her parents are standing around and talking about shit, and then all of a sudden her father, who's playing with peanut butter, he spills some on himself and goes, "Oh, I got peanut butter on my penis." Now, I may have spoiled a part of the movie by saying that, but trust me, it wasn't really funny when it happened. It was just more like, what the fuck just happened? And as Mick Boss, a buddy of mine from Ireland, pointed out to me on Twitter, that was probably a reference to in the first one when the girl gets the girl gets peanut butter or whatever on her shirt, and she's got to go take off her shirt.
Yeah.
For titillation's sake. And I thought it was a reference to in the Rob Zombie movie where Taylor Scout Compton and her mom, or her adoptive mother, as we've come to find out, are having an awkward conversation, and like she's fucking a bagel with her hand or something. And I was like, because they're having an awkward conversation about sex over breakfast. I don't know.
Possible.
Maybe I'm wrong. But there's definitely a reference to the Rob Zombie movie later in the film when Michael Myers like busts through like a window and a wall to hold someone around their neck, exactly like he did in the 2007 movie.
The sheet over a dead body kind of
sheet
like
over dead body.
just like that.
Someone's stabbed up against a wall with a knife. That happened, and their weight is somehow supported upon it, and we still don't know how. 40 years later, there's a kid watching scary movies while being babysat, like, and then the Laurie Surrogate character calls this friend on the phone, but she can't come out. But her boyfriend will sneak over later. You don't even know which movie I'm talking about now. Am I talking about the original or this one? It happened to both, is my point. There was also, dude, there's so many references. You would have to watch this movie again and again. It got to the point where it was just where I was like, enough. I can't take any more. I can't take any more of your references, and like, that's bad intertextuality to me. That is like where it gets to the point of like, okay, you're beating me over the head with this now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Where the movie is literally constructed of paper mache parts of other Halloween movies. That annoys me. Here's a movie that does intertextuality quite well in ways that you would totally miss if you never saw the originals. Strangers Pray at Night. Because there's a scene, and Kelly, we were watching it, and my wife pointed out, like, there's a part where somebody goes into a car and they can't find the keys, and then the killer comes up to the side of the car and like knocks on the window and has the keys. And she was like, they stole that from Scream. And I was like, it's been like, or Scream 2. And I was
Scream
like,
and Scream 2 are references to all the movies that
yeah, I was like, first off, those are reference movies as well, but they do it really well, and they were lovely. But this movie, like, it's been 20 years. You can steal something from a 20-year-old movie, and you're actually making a very good reference. You're not going. It wasn't like somebody with a ghost mask showing up and being like, "Ooh, hey, I'm Nev Campbell," Nev Candle. You mean this character's name was Nev Candle? That's just right on the nose. No, there was also in that movie a reference to Texas Chainsaw Massacre that's kind of obvious if you've ever seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But they don't play it up.
But I know, but you see what I was getting at with the chills that I felt at the end of that fucking movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like that song, the Flames, the Christine, the freaking Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all at the same time. I'm like, God damn it, this is beautiful.
Oh yeah, there was. I mean, like
that was an inspired choice, and that's the thing. It wasn't like, did you see Christine? Huh? Did you see
exactly.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Eh?
Right. Instead, it does it like artfully, like in the way that Quentin Tarantino steals from everybody, but you don't even know about it because he's so good at it.
And then when you find out, you're like, I know that movie. I know.
Right. But he steals in ridiculous ways where it's like a single shot could be a reference to a movie and you don't even know it until like years later somebody's like, no, look at this shot. And now look at that shot, and you're like, "Oh my god!"
Quentin
that's
Tarantino
art.
Is like the Rain Man of fucking movies,
right? But like to just be like, I feel like they had a checklist of stuff we're going to work into this movie, no matter what, including like to even include stuff from like Rob Zombie and stuff. I bet if you go back, you'll find pieces of parts 6, 7, and 8 in there. Maybe him saying "I know jujitsu" is a reference to Busta Rhymes trying to fight him. There could be like a million deeper references that we're missing. And I can even tell you more. There's a guy who like there's a scene where like Michael Myers kills someone in a bathroom, like in Halloween 2. No, the Rob Zombie one.
The Rob Zombie one. That's what I'm saying.
The gas station bathroom. So anyway, I think we're almost done talking about this movie.
Almost. Well,
look, this movie deserves to be this long. This episode deserves to be this long. This whole review does too. You wanted to hear about it. You're hearing about it. We're going to talk about your opinions about it in a minute. What else you got?
I want to see it again, but I'm going to wait till Blu-ray, obviously, because I got to fucking have it because it's got to be part of the collection. But shit, now I forgot. Strangers. Just kidding.
Strangers.
Oh, god damn it.
Should we make that the thumbnail? Halloween.
Oh, and we also talk about Halloween. No, dude, it's funny. I'm not going to talk about Strangers anymore. I'll wait till the best of the year. We'll see what happens. All right. I'm going to go to Facebook, and I'm going to talk about people. We reached out to you wonderful, beautiful, excellent, sexy, luscious not luscious, straight-edged people, just in case they complain. And said, "Did you see Halloween? Tell us your opinions so it gets on our Halloween episode." And then a pumpkin. So, Ninfa said, "I loved it!" Exclamation. I was literally on the edge of my seat the whole movie, and I kept grinning every time they referenced one of the other Halloween movies.
You must have been grinning a lot.
Yeah. You must have looked like the Joker at the end of that movie. A crooked Joker.
I'll make fun of you.
I'm glad, Ninfa, I'm glad you enjoyed the shit out of the movie, because you deserve it. All right? Casey wrote, "Really enjoyed it!" Exclamation. I went in with zero expectations and the prayer that it wasn't going to be some it's all in her head twist. Looking forward to seeing it again soon. So
yeah, at least go into this movie with low expectations and you'll be happier.
Right. Joshua or Mr. Joshua said, "I absolutely loved it."
He's an author now. Josh, you can say his full name.
Oh, Joshua McMillan.
Google
author,
him.
Joshua McMillan. He said he absolutely loved it. It had its flaws, but in my opinion, that was due to only one character that was a little strange for me. We know who that is. I saw it twice opening night, and going in with the knowledge of what happens and how the film plays, I enjoy it more. Can't wait to see it again. Loved the score, especially the Halloween Triumphant track. There you go.
See? Halloween Triumphant.
All right. Marie said, "I loved it." Okay. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. You loved it, Marie. All right. Eric said, "I went in not wanting to see another Resurrection crap-ass film and was pleasantly surprised by the film."
Good. Whoa, motorcycle. Wah. Sorry, it got loud. I should have muted, but I didn't.
That's all right. It added to Eric's retort. "It was intense and brutal at the same time. The score was amazing, and I'm truly happy to see Myers back on the big screen." That's true. Mm-hmm. It is nice to see Michael Myers back on the big screen. I did get the little butterflies when I saw him again. Overall, I give it a resounding pretty good, said Dane. He said best elements was Myers' physicality, and most of the kills felt believable coming from him. Mike Yoshinobu Merriman said, "It was fun. Had some issues with it, but it was better than the majority of the sequels, which is all you can ask for in a direct sequel coming 40 years after the original."
Yeah, that is one thing. Like, this movie, we didn't even mention this, but this movie could have been terrible.
Oh, yeah. It could have been absolutely, Curse of Michael Myers. It could have been there.
It could have been Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Yep.
Speaking of 40-year-old sequels that erased the original.
Did you think that the guy in the cowboy hat was a reference to Duke from Jason Goes to Hell? No.
Oh my God, I did.
Yeah.
When he showed up, I was like, "Oh, just like Duke." Wow.
You know what? Lauren said he was like the man in black in Halloween 5.
I don't remember enough about Halloween 5. I can't quote.
That's the guy that rescues Michael Myers out of the jail by killing everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
I thought Dylan said, "I thought the movie was great. I thought Jamie Lee Curtis gave a fantastic performance as someone just wholly broken by previous events. She was not phoning it in. Commas always fuck me up when they're not there. She was not phoning it in like she did in H2O, in my opinion. The kills were great and the story was great as well." So, yeah, I agree. Yeah, in H2O, I don't think she phoned it in too much in H2O, because the whole alcoholic thing and all that was pretty cool. All right, Brett. this is the last one. I was massively disappointed. I thought the pre-credit scene with the podcasters was pointless. I agree. And more than dumb, letting the podcasters scream at the end. Oh my God, it's like, I didn't read your comment before, dude. Letting the podcasters scream at an insane mass murderer while waving his surprisingly still good condition killing mask. The bus escape needed to be shown. The booby trap.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, totally, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that was like a part of the movie where I was like, did they just cut a scene? And maybe they're saving this for a reveal in the sequel, and I'm going to spoil everybody's time in the sequel. But they show, like, okay, it's part of the trailer. They show that, like, Michael Myers is going to be transported soon, and like Jamie Lee Curtis gets all nervous about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the movie, they show her like sitting in a car and drinking, and I'm like, oh my god, she's going to go crash the bus. Right?
That's what I thought too. Yeah. And
the
then,
next scene, the bus has crashed, and I'm like, the fuck happened? She killed everybody? Like, what's going on in this movie? And then none of that.
I thought she was going to follow the bus. Here's what my brain was going. She's going to follow the bus. The bus miraculously crashes. She pulls over, right, drunk off her ass, and then sees them all down there, grabs her gun, and can't find Michael Myers, and goes on a hunt for him. And meanwhile, everybody else comes. That's what I thought was going to happen. But, yeah, but no.
Didn't happen.
I don't want to cut you off, Brett. Sorry
to screw up the whole thing.
But yeah,
and to let everybody know. But yeah,
the booby-trapped house was daft. The comedy sucked.
I disagree with the booby-craft house. Yes, and the comedy did kind of suck.
The comedy did, but it's nice to have a good time at just a fun time at a horror movie too. It's good to have some humor in it once in a while. But if you didn't like the comedy, it's okay. It's all subjective. The strife between Allison and her boyfriend was unnecessary.
Agree.
I could go on, but I think I've made my point. 3.5/10.
Well, I actually agree with most of the points that he made.
Yeah, he does make some good point. And like if somebody goes, I didn't like it, and here's why, I'm like, okay, yep, and that happens with me with a lot of movies, especially you and I, especially even when it comes to Solo, which I liked. Yeah, but you see, but hey, you can talk about balls sucking all day, and I'm like, that's good. You can put all the balls in your mouth, but you know what? My balls are flowing. I like that. They're Solo. I like it. It's a good movie.
Right, and I just go, I don't care about your opinion no more.
Guess what I just got? Guess what I just got, Nick?
Was it Solo?
I already had Solo. That's how I watched it. But guess what I got? I got the book to Solo and the prequel book to Solo as well.
You actually did?
Yeah.
My God, I thought I was just making fun of you for it.
No, I'm gonna listen to. Because there's more to the story than they actually showed in the movie, and there's a reason that Darth Maul. I just spoiled it. Anyway.
Oh my God. Hey, we're not a Star Wars podcast.
No,
we just talk about Star Wars every single week.
I know. By the way, how are you doing in Battlefront 2?
Oh, dude, I gave up. I swore it off. I don't play Battlefront 2. I don't even know what it is. Dude, I realized I was getting slowly addicted to the game, and I was like, I can't let this happen. So I stopped. I'll play it again someday, but right now I'm like, no.
Red Dead Redemption 2. Dude,
Red Dead coming out at midnight.
You gotta get listeners, get Killing Floor 2 if you're a PlayStation member. It's like $9, and they have free boards on there all the time, including the Monsters Ball Halloween event, where you go to a mansion and it's like werewolves and banshees and vampires and Audrey 2 and all this kind of shit comes after you, and you just shoot it. Guess what's coming in Christmas? A Christmas Horrorland with killer snowmen and shit. Dude,
that sounds wonderful.
I'm so in love with Killing Floor 2 as well.
Okay, we got to get back to the opinions because we just went
Twitter.
Way off
Sorry, but go ahead. So we always go on sidetracks.
I would like to read the Twitter opinions.
Twitter.
We tweeted it out from our Twitter account at Jack and Nick Show, and we asked for your opinions on the Halloween movie. Let's see who answered. Brandon Danger Darling, who is now known as Brandon 3 Season of the Witch, at Hey Beardmon, said, I enjoyed it. Ranked it third in the series behind the original and part 2. I like the subtle nods to the other films in the series without being annoyingly in your face about it. Dude, we just did a whole segment about how annoyingly in your face about it was. Disagree. Hard disagree. Maybe he just didn't catch as many as we did.
I wouldn't say it was annoying. It was distracting.
It annoyed me. Yes, distracting is a better word for it, but it definitely annoyed me after a while when it was still going on. I forgot another one that came up like repeatedly. There are a bunch of times where when hunting Michael, Laurie thinks he's in a closet, just like the one she went in. Like, exactly. Like, with like fucking like, slats and stuff. And then she
and then the fall and the disappearing and yeah. I know.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you should mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a spoiler, but no, there's,
but I didn't say who.
But when she opens the fucking closets, they're full of wire hangers. Anyway.
No more of them too.
Laurie taking the Dr. Loomis role was pretty good. And you know what? I thought that was but when I saw the trailers, I thought that that's what they were doing, that Laurie was going to take the Dr. Loomis role, but she didn't. There was literally another Loomis.
I'm going to say Dr. Kevorkian.
Yes, more like Dr. Kevorkian.
Did you? You were about to say Dr. Kevorkian. I know you were. You were Dr. Loomis.
I don't know. I'm Kalupis. Dr. Oompa Loopus in this fucking movie.
Kalupis.
Oompa Loopus.
Billy's mother.
Jason Wise at Wise Wisdom. That's a good Twitter handle, isn't it? If your name was Wise, you take Wise Wisdom. I like that. He just tweeted
us at the end of this movie.
He tweeted us his review from link.medium.com, which I think is just like a blog thing. And his review title is "This one is in good shape." So good on you for that, son. Next up, what? Twitter, don't baffle me by putting links in front of my face. Okay, from @MickBoss, my friend from Ireland. He's our friend. He's listened to us for years. He's our buddy. Honestly, my fave cinema trip ever. Loved it.
That's good.
He talks in this weird Irish way. I could totally tell. Well, I mean, other than the fact that I've watched his YouTube channel, like he tweets in Irish dialect. It's pretty. If you ever go to Irish Twitter or Scottish Twitter, you'll see people tweeting in dialect, and sometimes you got to like read the tweet twice because you're a dumb American. So here we go. Honestly, my fave cinema trip ever. Loved it. Mask was best since '78. Kills were brutal. Jamie Lee was badass. Myers was a beast, and Carpenter's music rocked. The little kid being babysat was hilarious, and my fave character. Wish I liked Laurie's daughter more. That aside, great. Okay.
Hey, I agree with every single point. And yes, the mask, I forgot to mention. The mask actually is the best mask, I would say, since part 1 and 2. I like the mask in 2 as well.
I guess it doesn't. It's a good mask.
It changes. It changes through the series.
I know it does, subtly and sometimes terribly, like in part 6 or 7.
I'm gonna have a hashtag for the end of this episode. We're gonna bring that back.
We really should. We should bring it all back because nobody else is using it. Yeah. Anyway, at Kara White 88 said, "Best slasher of the last 20 years. Didn't think I'd see kills that brutal in the theater these days."
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true. That is true. Some of the kills, there's the one that we're talking about. We talked about earlier.
The Saw movies pretty much had all the brutal kills, and those were these days.
Yeah, I know,
in fact, I watched Jigsaw the other day. Did you see Jigsaw?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
It's good, but it's
that
not.
Was,
it's not. It feels very Canadian, doesn't it? And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. Canadians.
It's supposed to take place in PA.
No, it took.
Dude, I looked it up. I looked it up. Dude,
But it was filmed in Canada. Canada.
Yes. Do you know why I know that? Do you know why I know that?
Why do you
Because
know
I waited till the end of the credits to see where it was actually filmed, and I yelled at it, "Fucking Canada."
Yeah.
Because the whole movie, they're driving around with New Jersey plates on. And I was like, what the fuck? The Saw movies all take place in Chicago. How the fuck did they put this one in New Jersey?
It feels... Go ahead.
Okay, well, then I had to look it up online. The farm that they end up going to, the murder farm, was in Pennsylvania. And so the majority of that movie is actually set in Pennsylvania, which you can drive to from New Jersey. And that is stupid because all the movies take place in Chicago and you can't just rewrite this.
You know how there was that that movie called Hellraiser, and then Hellraiser 2 came out, and then 3 came out, and then 4
goes to space,
and then 5. This kind of feels like those where you're like, oh yeah, this is definitely straight to video.
Right. So anyway, I gotta finish this tweet.
Okay,
I'm like in the middle of it.
Right.
Sorry.
Good.
Yes, it was. It definitely felt very straight to video, and in fact, I joked with that it was like Hellraiser 8 while watching it. So good call. Also, cracked me up that everything kicks off because of two dumbass UK podcasters who can't leave well enough alone. Wish the ending hadn't wrapped up so quick, but whatever.
Thankfully, we haven't
I do
done that
agree
yet.
with both of those things. What?
We're not podcasters. We're just assholes with microphones.
No, we're definitely dumbass podcasters or dumbass microphone. I don't know. We're dumbasses.
We're dumbasses
but no,
with microphones.
the UK podcasters angle was kind of good. I wish that it was a bigger part of the movie, like much bigger.
Yeah,
And,
like they could have done like the girls, like the My Favorite Murder thing or something like that, where like they did like they intersplit. I don't know, something to make it more modern too. But whatever.
yeah, and I do think that the ending, it just kind of like it's like going on like all cylinders, and there's hellfire, and then the movie just kind of ends, and I was like, oh man, I was kind of hoping for like a little epilogue or something, but that's okay. We're getting a sequel like soon.
There's an end credit moment after the credits.
Was there?
Yeah, you missed it.
Fuck.
There was like another 5 minutes of movie after the credits.
Are you joking?
No, you
Really?
didn't stay.
No.
That's why I like the movie. Oh my gosh! Do you want me to spoil it?
Not
I'm
on
just
the
kidding.
couch.
There's just breathing at the end. That's all.
Is there?
Yeah.
I would have guessed that was it if you had told me that it was a crappy. After
It wasn't
credits.
5 minutes. No, it's just breathing.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Wait, one more tweet, and then we can talk about it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Then we can ruin this show by going on till midnight.
We're not
But-
going to. But good.
No. At CH writes and tweets. Christopher H. Enjoyed it way more than I thought I would, but worried now this will lead to lots of half-assed cash-ins and another Scream movie.
Well, brace
yeah,
yourselves because Night of the Comet's coming, and then Critters and Killer Clowns from Outer Space being redone by Sci-Fi, and Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund was dressed up as Freddy Krueger for the Goldbergs, and now they're all like, "You gotta do one more. We gotta have more Nightmare on Elm Street." Which I'm not opposed to. Fuck it. Let's just get it all out of our system and then blow our wad, and then we'll get fresh new horror that everybody will complain about. And then all the stuff that they complained about before will now be retro, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, remember that movie It Follows? Let's totally do that again.
It will.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, no, like anything that you watch now will get remade.
You know
If
what
it's
I've been
foreign,
loving?
It will get remade quickly.
I've been rewatching a lot of 90s movies and shows, and I'm like, that decade wasn't that bad.
Yes, it was.
No, for horror, it was terrible. But
yeah.
there are a lot of good. Anyway, so
What happened?
I don't know. Oh yeah, what I was gonna say is, in any horror movie, if you don't see somebody dead, normally they're not dead. That's what I'm gonna say.
Oh, absolutely. And I said the same. Me and my wife said the same thing to ourselves as we left.
Yep.
That is the way that movies go.
Mm-hmm. That's
That-
why Halloween 2, somebody died. Like, they really died.
Right.
But then they came back. Did you hear about the theory that some asshole from Crack wrote about the Halloween series? And it's actually really funny, and I thought about it, and I'm like, it was in the back of my brain, but I was like, nah, that's really stupid. That Michael Myers did die in Halloween 2, and then Halloween 3 is about the robot guys, and then the cult
Oh yeah, I did read
brings
that
the robot
article,
guy.
but it was so dumb. I blocked it out of my fucking
And
brain.
but that's how he became super strong, where he could brain somebody with his thumb.
Yeah.
And
That actually is another thing that really annoys me is that people are like, "Oh, damn, the Rob Zombie, Michael Myers was super strong," and I hated that. And it's like, dude, that happened way before Rob Zombie, and people were like, "Yeah, he's not going to be that way in the new movie." No, he was.
He was, yeah.
He was. He definitely put his hand through like.
He put something through something and made it all goopy.
Yeah, he got all goop to goop.
If you made it this far in the episode, please
Oh my
follow
God.
us. Please follow us at JacobK666, at New Jersey Nick, at Jack and Nick Show.
That's
if you
Twitter.
Yeah, if you've made it this far, hashtag Billy's mother.
Oh, can you name another reference as we go out of the show?
That's a reference to a movie. Do you know what movie that is?
Not that I know. No,
You've seen it before.
I probably have.
Just think about it. Just look at, like, you can't see me, but I'm looking up with my eyes closed, all smiling, going, Billy's mother.
I have no idea.
I'll tell you after the
Okay.
recording, because
Yeah,
I don't want to
please.
spoil it for a movie.
Tweet to
For
us
movie
and
fans.
let us know what movie that's from, because Nick does not. I'll tell you another Halloween reference from this movie. Hang on.
Okay.
There's a part where they're in a police car that has the like wire looking thing in the police car
Uh-huh.
looking forward, and it's a shot forward. Like Michael in the first movie, you know, there's a shot from him in the back of a station wagon or something.
Oh yeah, where he's
I don't know.
he's
Maybe
put in the
that's a
back
reference.
seat with somebody.
I don't remember. Maybe that wasn't. Maybe I made that up.
That was really
That
fucking
really
awkward.
That
though.
really fell apart. So anyway, let's think of another one.
I thought they were. I thought they were going to go with a Scream 2 reference with the back of the police car, except you know, didn't.
I think my favorite death in Scream is when Rose McGowan gets killed in the garbage, or not the garbage thing, the doggy door.
It sounded like you were doing the South Park Rob Schneider thing. And like the part in the movie of Scream when Rose McGowan gets stuck in the garage.
Oh my God.
Derp.
Nobody is going to listen to this episode. And everybody who's going to listen to it is going to be like, yeah, Nick hated Halloween.
No, you know what they're going to say? Billy's mother.
No, they will not take that one with them, I'm sure. But they will think that we're negative. That's going to happen, Jack.
It's
You
always
got to
gonna
brace yourself. There's going to be a backlash.
Fucking
against
cares.
Jack.
You know what? We had a backlash where we fucking said, "F you, we're out," because we got we got fired from our own show.
Oh, we are
no
such
reason-
horrible.
For no reason other than fucking an egomaniac. Anyway.
So back to no more back to Halloween. We're done. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween,
Good night.
Billy.
Oh, I coughed again. It hurt.